What's up guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about Black Ops 1 on the DS and what kind of makes it like a hidden gem, so let's get into it. Now this game, I have to admit, is very impressive, even graphically. I mean, this is comparable to something that you would see on maybe like PS1 for how good these graphics are, and on a DS, you know, most games didn't really have the best graphics. You had a lot of 2D games, a lot of top-down style games. But this is fully 3D. I mean, this actually feels like a Call of Duty game. And even though the story mode is not the exact same thing as, you know, the original Black Ops 1 for console, it's still set in the same time period. You know, you start off in Cuba, and the themes and the atmosphere is there. And it just feels really good and looks good too. And what makes it feel good is the controls. You don't have to look around with your stylus like you did in the older ports on here, like the COD 4 port. You had to look around with the stylus, and it just made playing an FPS like that very, very clunky, whereas in this game, you can choose to use physical controls, the controls that were on the DS, or in this case, I used an emulator, so I was able to bind my controls similar to how you would do it on the PSP, using like the D-pad and the face buttons for movement and looking around, and then of course shooting with the triggers and stuff like that. The only downside was that for reloading, I had to reach over and hit the little touchscreen icons, which you'll see on the right-hand side of the screen. That's for like reloading and switching weapons. There was really nothing I could do to bind those controls. So there is still something involved with using a touchpad, but that's pretty minor because in reality, you're just using it to reload, and it's not really affecting the gameplay that much. The only other thing that I would say, like complaint-wise, is the teammate AI is not the best. Like earlier, I was basically stuck inside a doorway because my squad mate was like literally right on top of me. The barrel of his gun was like right in my face. I have no idea what was going on with that. So a little bit clunky with the teammate AI, but relatively minor in terms of that. And the other thing I find interesting about this game is the fact that it's not just a campaign. It had a fully fledged zombies mode, which I actually plan on doing a separate video about, because it's pretty impressive. I mean, 4 completely custom maps that were never seen in another Call of Duty game, all ported over to the DS. Like, that's pretty cool, dude. And one of them's actually a solid map. It's called Facility. I've actually played the custom map version on Black Ops 3 of the same map, and it's a pretty solid little map, dude. Once you get into the basement and get all your perks and stuff like that, it's pretty decent for just camping out for, 20 or so rounds. So I'm definitely going to make a separate video on the zombies mode. The only downside to zombies is, of course, the prices. Like, especially on Facility, like 5,000 to get out of the starting room, that's pretty crazy. I mean, that's just absurd to think that they did that, especially being that playing on DS controls is not super easy for something like zombies. I mean, I don't even think there's a way that you can sprint. It feels like playing COD 2 Zombies or whatever. It's very strange, but it's just cool to see that they actually added all of that stuff into such a small game for the DS. And then, of course, there's an arcade mode, too, which I didn't try yet. Maybe it was similar to, like, COD 4's arcade mode. I don't know. I haven't really spent a lot of time with that, but it's honestly much better than I expected. You know, I'd never played this before, and I'd seen a couple people making videos on it, and I was like, wow, this doesn't even look that bad. Because most of the time when I think about the DS, I just think of, like, horrible quality games or just little kid games, like shit that I don't want to play. But the fact that there's multiple Call of Duties on the DS, including, COD 4, World at War, Black Ops 1, and MW3, that's pretty cool, at least. I mean, at least there was some, true FPS games on the system. I know there was stuff like Doom, and I think Duke Nukem made it over, but I mean, like, more modern FPS titles, and I just can't believe that this is as good as it is. Like, the fact that it plays this good, with the only downside is I did have some minor frame drops because I was emulating this on a relatively low-end tablet. I'm going to try and do it on my PC for the next video when I do the zombies only one, because I really need to try out all the maps and see what they're all about, because I don't know what they're all about. I've only tried Facility and Temple I really didn't like that much because it just has a really shitty layout. That's kind of one thing I noticed. A lot of the DS Zombies maps were like very compact, very tight. There's not a lot of like wide open spaces, but I mean, all that aside, the fact that they actually put all of this stuff into a DS game is just very impressive to me. And, I just think it shows that back in the day, there was so much dedication from the developers to make a game that people actually liked and that they would actually want to play. Like, if I would have gotten this game as a kid, I wouldn't have been upset. So, anyways, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.